Welcome back, guys, in this new section, which is the second game, simple hyper casual game, which is named as wall change. Again, I am saying you could have your own name. There is no restriction to it, and this is going to be again a simple hyper casual game. So, what is an hyper casual game, guys? It is an endless game where a player just goes on and on in the endless world and has to score the highest guy. So this is what the hyper casual games are. These are what the hyper casual games are. So what are the contents of this section? So we are again going to understand the basic concept of the game. We are going to create some fundamental scripts like player controller and all. And then we are going to again take a look over the endless world algorithm. We are going to create one another, and then we are going to add a new functionality, which is the random falling obstacle. The fourth thing which we are going to study is we are going to again work on the UI, and the fifth thing is of course the VFX are must for any game. And then we are going to add a sound effects to the game. And the new thing which we are going to learn in this section, and what this section is all about, is this monetization of the game, guys. So in this game we are actually going to add some ads into our game so that we could earn money, guys. And then we are again going to build an Android version of the game. And the second thing which we are going to understand in this section is we are going to learn how to upload a game over the Play Store, guys. So this is it about this section. And then once you have gone through all of the videos of this section, and then you just follow the tutorial, then you would be creating a game which is going to look like this. This is what it is going to be. This is the main menu. This is going to be your actual game. This is the game over menu, and this is how the ad is going to be displayed over the screen. This is just a sample Unity ad, but the original ad would be seen when you upload this game over the Play Store. And once once the game is uploaded over the Play Store, you could see some commercial ads playing while the when the game is being actually live over the store. So guys, as you can see, menu is not that good, but yeah, this is the thing which we wanted to learn was not the create menus, how cool menus we could create, but rather we are going to just focus over the fundamentals, or you can say the core functionalities of the game, what a game should consist of, what a game should have in it. And the thing which we are going to study here, the newest thing, the new and the most important thing, is going to be the monetization of our game, which is the Unity ads, guys. So stay. We are going to take a look over the basic concept of the game. But first thing what we have to do is we need to build an empty project named as wall change. So let's get started. So open up the application known as Unity Hub, which is installed into your system. So just click on that. It is taking some time to load, but don't worry, it will load soon. And as you can see, it has been loaded. So what you have to do is now create a new project. So click on that new button. You are going to observe several templates. Since our game is going to be 3D, we need to select this 3D template and name our project as wall change, or you can have your name as well. There is no any there are no restrictions to that. And then just hit the create button. So with that, Unity is going to create our project named as wall change. So now for the understanding purpose, let's take a look over the basic concept of our game. So what the wall change does is, in this wall change game there would be two walls on the left side of the screen and the right side of the screen, as it is observed in the scene right before you. So now what would happen is the player would be a simple cube. This is the player. The white cube would be the player. And now what a player has to do is it has to stick onto either of the walls, either on the right side or on the left side. So now so how a game, what is the functionality, what would be the gameplay of our game? So when a player touches the blue the player has to keep touching this blue wall. If it doesn't touch the blue wall, then the countdown starts for the player. That is, it starts from the 5 4 3 2 1, and after reaching to zero, player bursts. So it has to make sure that player is touching the wall which is of blue color. And by chance, if the player touches the red wall which is on the right side, currently which is on the right side, if it touches the red wall, then the player is going to get burst. The player is going to burst, so the game gets over. And there would be a random generation of this color, like Over here there would be a blue color again of the upper side of that this blue wall would be another blue color, and this side could also be a red color, or you can say this side could be now this side could be the blue color and this side could be the red color. This is how the player has to keep changing and has to make sure that he is touching the blue wall. So this would be our gameplay mechanic. This would be the basic concept of our game. And today in this lecture we are going to create a basic player controller script, and I have imported all of my assets which I showed you earlier in the previous video. So just import those assets into your game and let's get started, guys. So with that said, guys, I just forgot to import one more asset, which was the early prototype. So let me just import that asset quickly. Okay, I don't want this demo and this texture. Okay, cool. Okay, what's inside the demo? Okay, cool. So my PC is being done importing this asset. So now let's create a basic, before creating a player controller script, let's create a basic level for our game so that we can have a clear idea, or we can have a clear vision how our game is going to look like. So with that said, let's get started, guys. So yeah, at first we need two walls for the basic understanding. So let's create two cube. But before creating cube, what we have to do is just create a material. Okay, a base texture, it is green, cool. Okay, let's create two materials. I've created already. Okay, so now in the blue I'm going to add this texture. Okay, this will look great. So instead of blue, yeah, cool. So this texture is going to work fine. And then for the red, I'm going to again change the albedo to the red. Okay, this would look great, and changing the color to white. Now let's try this. Okay, cool. So it's looking great, guys. So as you can see, texture is looking fine, and we need to create. Okay, I just by mistakenly just removed that texture. Okay, now one more texture which we need to input is let's create, just duplicate this red and rename it as white, and add a texture white base. And this would be the texture for our player. As you can see, I have just imported a texture for our player, and our player is going to look white. And then with that said, guys, create okay, now let's create one more cube, and yeah, reset the position, reset it to the origin. And yeah, this is not at the origin, so bring our player also back to the origin. And with that said, guys, bring this cube and rename the cube to wall. And okay, just increase the scale to 4 and 10. Okay, not 10, but I guess 6 would work great. And increase the length of the cube to 10. Okay, well, it's looking great. And just on the x-axis, just bring it to the position 4, or I guess 5 would work fine. And just take a look over the game view. Okay, not 5, I guess. Let's increase it up to 7. Yeah, great. So 7 is looking cool. And just duplicate this wall again, and okay, on the x-axis make it -7. So with that said, guys, let's add a material to both of the walls. So first one would be red. On the left, let's give it a red color, and on the right, let's give it a blue color. So with that said, guys, we are done to go. We are ready to go further. So with that said, guys, let's create a basic player controller script. One more thing, guys, just add a skybox to our game. So at first you can have any skybox. So I would like to have the simple skybox, which is cloudy ground 01 midday. So now we are good to go, and let's create a script. So create a script folder named as scripts, and then inside of the scripts folder, just create one more script and name it as player controller. And just double click to open that player controller script. And with that said, guys, let's get started. After the scripts, after the editor opens up, what I have to do, the first thing which we need to do is we need to move our player right and left, guys. We just need to move our player right and left. Okay, it should also transform to the upper upside. So yeah, the player should transform up. It should keep moving upwards. So what we have to do is, there is a simple code which we need to do. So first we need to identify the speed of our player. So let's create a serialized field. Okay, it's not working properly. Okay, cool. So I have created a serialized field, and then access modifier should be private, and the speed should be the variable type float, and let's name our variable as move speed, guys. So with that move speed, what you have to do is just go back in the update function, and what you have to do is translate over the y-axis continuously so that the player keeps on moving in the upward direction, guys. So multiplied with the move speed. Okay, now the function is going to work. So let's attach our player script to this player and add component player controller. Okay, so now increase the speed from 0 to, I guess, 6, and just hit the play button of the editor and see what happens. So as you can see, player is moving, player starts to move in the upward direction, and it would keep moving. It won't stop, guys, because of the update function. So now let's stop the editor and then go back and add a functionality for left and right movement of the player, guys. So what we do for that is if input.get. Okay, I just by mistakenly opened that code down, no problem. Okay, so basically this is a mobile game, right? So let's just directly create a canvas for our game, and in that canvas create some go to the 2D mode first, and then create okay, just make this canvas scalar to from constant pixel size to scale with screen size, and then in that canvas just create 2 images, simple images. Okay, decrease the alpha of the image to 0.4, I guess. Okay, yeah, 4, and make it black so it looks more cooler. So now just anchor it to the right corner, guys, and then yeah, just bring it to the a bit up. Okay, cool. So with that said, guys, now just duplicate this image and name it as left btn, and name the upper one image as right btn. So just hold the left btn and anchor it to the left side, and then just drag it to the upward direction, and yeah, place it right there, guys. So with that said, guys, now we have got 2 buttons. Okay, this should be 5. It is 5 already, so let's make it this one also 5. Okay, so now we have got 2 buttons in our game, but the view of our game should not be landscape this time. Let's make it this portrait. Let's make it in the portrait mode. So to do that, what you have to do is first switch on to the Android. So hit the switch platform. Okay, so switching between the platform has been done. So now what we have to do is just change the view aspect from the view of the game from free aspect to portrait, I guess, because we need our game to be portrait. Okay, so with that said, guys, what you have to do is just go to the 3D mode and adjust those walls which we created earlier in the and yeah, select the wall 1 and get it to, I guess, 4, and select wall 2 and get it to -4, guys. So with that said, now we are good to go and our game is looking great. So now what I have to do is just go back to the player script. Okay, player controller script, and let's take a look over there. Okay, so script, what we did was just write a transform or translate function to let our player move continuously in the upward direction, guys. So now with that said, let's add a control buttons functionality. So to do that, what you have to do is just create another script, name it as left btn handler, and one more script, name it as, okay, just create another script, name it as right btn handler. So now with that said, guys, what you have to do is just open up that script which was left btn handler. and then inside of that script just remove all those both of the function which is start and update. Now what you have to do is just beside the okay, go to the go outside of the class and write using unity engine dot event system. This event system is nothing but the one which we used to create the controls for the left and right button in the previous game, which was in dimension I. So we have to do the similar. We have to create the similar functionality for these buttons also. So you can do it yourself. You can think of it as your challenge. And so let's get started with this. We are going to create the same functionality again in this game also as well. So just create a I pointer down handler and I pointer up handler. So with that said guys, what you have to do is just create implement the interface of those uh, events, and I'm going to implement it using this IntelliSense. And then after we create this functions, what you have to do is in the player controller script you need to create two static booleans, boolean variables. So create two static bool variable, first name it as left and assign a value default value as false, and create another static variable of type bool and make it the variable into the right and assign the default value as false, and then go back to the left button handler, and over there if the pointer is down then left equals to true. Okay, not left, I guess it's player controller dot left equals to true guys. So with that said guys, what you have to do next is, okay, there is a slight error. Okay, cool. So now, and when you are using the left button you have to just make the right value as for right variable as false, set the right variable as false, and go back when you just take over your finger. What you have to do is just set the left again to false. So with that done guys, you have to just write the similar functions over to the another script which is a write by btn handler. So just double click on that and just copy and paste all of those functions which we wrote earlier in the left btn handler. So I would just copy and paste them, and besides using unity engine dot event systems, I would use that namespace, and then inside of here I just want to write I would have to write I pointer down handler and I pointer up handler. So with that guys, we have created our we have created two scripts. We have finished we have just design this event system for a left and right button, and just go back over to the unity editor and just assign those scripts to the left and right button respectively. So on the left btn we are going to assign left btn handler script, and for the right button we are going to assign a right btn handler script. So with that said guys, what we will do right now is just go back to the player controller script. Okay, it's just not okay, yeah. And what you have to do is inside of the update function, what you have to do is type in if, and if left, then what you have to do is just transform dot translate translate vector 3 dot right multiply by, okay, it's left right, so we need to translate it to the left side. Transform dot translate, okay, not left, let's make, okay, left because left is nothing but the negative x-axis. Time dot delta time and multiply by move speed. So with that said guys, we have done creating our left player movement, so player movement on the left side, and now let's create another movement which is on the right side. So just type in another if else statement and transform dot translate vector 3. Okay, I just forgot to add the parenthesis. We should be capital, and just type in vector 3 dot right multiply by star time dot delta time, and again add a star and move speed. Okay, great. So close up the bracket and save the script. So with that guys, we are done creating our player movement on the left and right side of the screen. So let's see if it's working fine. So as you can see, our cube has just started moving, and we can move on the left side and we can move on the right side as well, I guess. Okay, it's not moving on the right side, it's just moving on the left side, so there might be some problem. There is an issue with our script. Okay, so let's take a look over it. Okay, so we are working good. Okay, let's do one thing. Just instead of vector 3 the right, what you have to do is just create vector 3 the right and get a minus sign before it. So let's see if it functions fine, if it works fine. And just observe the cube which is running to the upward direction. If I hit the left button, it's going to the left side. If I hit the right button, it is again going on the left side. So what is the error? Let's try to find out the error. So okay, yeah, we just didn't edit the script of the right btn handler. So what you could do here is just change left to right and right to left. So guys, to get rid of the error, what you have to do is just replace this right to left to right and this right to left in the right btn handler script. So once you are done doing it, what you have to do is just save these changes and go back to the editor and just hit that play button, and there won't be any error this time. If you press the right button, it is going on the right side, and if you press the left button, it is going on the left side. But you have to restrict the player's movement if it reaches the wall, guys. So what you have to do is just restrict, because it goes on and on if I keep pressing the right button, and if it goes on and on if I keep pressing the left button, guys. So we need to restrict the movement of a player. So to do that, what you have to do is there are several ways in which you can do it. You can actually use the collider to let the collision stop, so let the collision happen and the player won't go any further. But instead of collider, what we can do is we can use another this ability, or you can say the another type of algorithm, another logic, which is if the player transform on the x-axis is less than is greater than 7, or you can say what is the transform right now. If it is greater than, I guess, 1.5, then it has to stop. And if it is less than minus 1.5, then it has to stop. So let's try to generate it over the script. So go over the player controller script, and in the if statement of the left side, what you have to do is and transform dot position greater than equal to 1.5 f, guys. So this is it. Okay, position dot x, we need our position dot x to be greater than minus 1.5 because it is moving on the left side, guys. So on the right side, you have to do the same thing, but on the the operation would be different. The relational operation would be different. So it would be greater than, okay, it should be less than equal to 1.5 f, guys. So with that, our condition is set and we are good to go. And now if we just check our movement, our player movement, it is going to restrict it. So let's try and see what happens. Now if I go to the left side, it is not going further from the minus 1.5, and if I go to the right side, it is not going further from the 1.5 side. So now that we are done, and red and blue, I guess, yeah, red and blue. So red would be our enemy cube and the blue would be our friendly cube. So what if I do is sorry to pronounce it cube, but it is wall rather than a cube. So yeah, just make it of size 4, 4 and 4. Okay, it should be 4 and 4, and make another cube which is blue 2, 4, 4 and 4 as well. So with that said, guys, what you do is just create a prefab of both of the walls. So okay, just yeah, increase the size over the z-axis, I guess, to bit 8, and wall this also to 8. Okay, so name it as blue wall and name this red wall as red, of course. Okay, so with that said, guys, what you have to do is just create a prefab. So go back in the asset folder and create another folder, name it as prefabs. Now go inside the prefab folder and just drag that red wall and blue wall inside of the prefab so that we create the prefab of those game object, guys. So with that said, what you have to do right now is just create, okay, just check out the size over the of this cube, of this wall, or you can say the cube, on the x and y scale. So what is the scale? It is 4 on the x and 4 on the y. Okay, so this scale, which we need to remember this scale. And now let's create two empty game object. Create an empty game object, name it as wall left, and just reset the position of the wall, and just create another game object, name it as wall right, guys. So just reset the position of the wall right as well, and now just check out the positioning of the left blue wall and the red wall. It is 4 on the x-axis and -4 on the y-axis. So the left wall is on the -4 of the, and the wall right is on the 4, which is the blue wall. So now if we just create if we just child a blue wall to the right wall, wall right game object, then you can see that it is fitting perfect. So what you can do is just now delete this blue wall and delete this red wall, and now with that two game object, we are just going to create we are going to just create this objects, these walls again and again when a player reaches a certain height, guys. So let's make it, if a player crosses 40 distance of 40 over the y, or you can say a distance of, I guess the wall is of 4 on the scale of the wall is 4 on the y-axis. So let's take it, if this player crosses the distance of 4, or you can say the multiple of 4 on the y-axis, then we are going to generate a left wall and the right wall randomly, guys. So now what you have to do is just create a script, a single script, name it as wall handler, and go inside of the script and create a prefab list, or you can say the array, of course. So just serialize a field. Okay, it's not working properly. Okay, now serialize the field, access modifier as private, and since it is an array, make a game object array, and now name it as wall prefabs, and just put a semicolon at the end. So with that, guys, we have created a wall prefab, and now what you have to do is get a player reference, guys. So private, serialize field private, and player is a game object, so the type of the variable would be game object, and then the variable name should be player or anything you like. And after that, what you have to do is just create a logic. If player dot transform dot position dot y modulus 4 equals 0, then what I have to do is, if it is modulus 0, then okay, just let's convert it into an int. So this is a typecasting. It is going to convert the float value to integer, and it is going to just modulus 4. It is going to find the remainder if it is divisible by 4 or not. It is going to check if it is divisible by 4, and if it is divisible by 4, then the answer would be 0, and so it is going to create a wall. So let's instantiate a wall within the object, and so x equals to, let's name the variable as x, instantiate. Okay, so the instantiation process of the prefab would be random, so any wall can be just swan, it can be either blue or it can be either red, and then random range, it should be between 0 to the length of the array, which is 2, guys. So with that said, guys, now we have to add a transform. So at first let's add a transform, which is transform that position, and then we need to add a quaternion identity, which is the rotation, of course. So we don't want any special rotation for our wall, so let's make it simple. And now if our player crosses the if the player is moving on the y-axis, suppose, and if it crosses the if it reaches the any multiple of 4, like 4, 16, 28, then the wall is going to create, and then a wall is going to be generated over left and right side. So now if we now that we are ready, so let's go inside the editor and see what is going to happen when we do this. So go just click on that wall left and wall right and add a component name as wall handler. And with that said, guys, what you have to do is just drag in the player game object, which is in the scene and in the hierarchy, and then go to the prefab folder and just drag those two prefabs over this. Okay, we can do it one by one. So just what you have to do is just lock this up and then go back and just drag those prefab in the prefab folder, and again just go there and open the lock and close the lock, and now just go again and drag it right there. So now if we just start the game, what would happen is it is going to generate walls on and on. It is going to keep generating our wall. It is going to keep generating our wall, and as you can see, it is just generating the walls. So one thing which we need to do right now is, since we are typecasting it, so it would again become 0. So suppose the player is at 0.8, it is just going to round off it to 1, and it is again going to generate the wall. So to stop this process, what you have to do is just remove this typecast and see what happens now. So if we go back to the editor and hit play button, now as you can see, player is not generating any kind of wall. So a wall is not getting generated, guys. So as you can see, the transform of the player is just increasing and increasing, but there is no sign of the wall. So what you can do is just check, go back and just again create the typecast and see what happens. And yeah, after spawning, after instantiating this game object, what we do is just create a parent-child relationship between the game object and that instantiated object. So just do that, game object dot transform, and with that, when an object has been instantiated, it is immediately going to be child of this parent game object, which is the wall handler. So which is this wall left and wall left right, guys. So just hit the play button, and as you can see, wall is been generating again and again. So it is random. So wall is generating, but the position of the wall is not perfect because it is just spawning it on the origin, guys, and on the positive and negative x-axis when the value is 4 and -4 respectively. So what you have to do is just stop the editor from playing the game and then go back inside the script, and what you have to do is just get the reference of the position of the final transform and just add 4 to it. So new vector 3 dot, okay, new vector 3, so it is going to be transform dot position. Okay, we need to access the child, the last child, guys. So what you have to do is game object dot transform dot get child, so that you can access the child, and again inside of it just type transform dot child count, so that we can access the last child of the game, so -1. And then after accessing the last child, what we do is game object dot transform dot position. So you are going to access the position over the y-axis, guys. So that, let's make it y plus 4, so it is going to spawn over the 4. So on the left side, on the right side, what you have to do is just make it 0 on the z-axis, since we don't want to move our object over the z-axis. And on the x-axis, what you have to do is just transform dot position dot x. So with that said, guys, what we are done editing our script, and go back to the editor and hit the play button and see what happens when we hit the play button. As you can see, there has been error generated. We don't know what is this error, but let's double click on the error so that we can take a close look over the error. So as you can see, there is no child at start of the game. So what you have to do is, guys, just go back and enter, okay, go back inside the script and just add 2 walls to it. So on the left side I'm adding 1 wall, and on the right side I'm adding 1 more wall. So now if you hit the play button, and as you can see, the wall is keeping generating, it keeps on generating again and again. So as you can see, it is going on and on. It never stops, guys. So the endless algorithm is working fine, guys. So with that said, what you have to do is just go back and add some changes, guys. So the transform of this is not to the origin. What you have to do is just get it to the origin, guys. So just hit on this, okay, so just get it to the origin, and again get this to the origin as well. And what we have to do right now is just check if it is working fine. So as you can see, guys, it is working great. And yeah, but one more thing, after it reaches a multiple of 4, what it is doing is generating 5, 6, 7, 8 cubes at the same time. So we need to stop this, because this could affect our performance of the mobile seriously. So what you have to do is just go back into the editor and just create a variable name as integer and name it as float. Okay, yeah, sorry, integer, and current pos equals to 0. So what you have to do is just go back inside of it and just hit enter the current pos equals to player dot transform dot position dot y, and make it as an integer. So typecast it with integer in front of it. So with that, guys, what you are doing is you are storing a current position of the at the position at which the player is currently standing at, and what you have to do is just type in and current pause not equal to this integer player transform player dot transform dot position dot y axis. So if it is not equal to each other, then it is not going to generate another cube, and if it is if it is equal to not equal to, then it is not going to go inside of it. So with that said, guys, if it is yeah, okay, so if this position changes, then only it is going to go inside the scope, and this script is going to work fine. So let's save the script and go back to the editor and see what happens. So now we are back to the editor, and as you can see, the cube is generating slowly with the player. As you can see, guys, it is working fine, and there are no n number of cubes generating back to back again. So our endless world script is working fine, but what you have to do at after while you create the game object, you need to delete the game object as well. So what you have to do is just go on and keep on deleting those objects. So what you have to do is we just need to destroy the first game object of the first child of this game object. So what you have to do is game object dot transform dot get child at 0 and dot game object. So you are going to delete the first child of this game object. So with that done, guys, just hit the play button, and as you can see, it is going to keep on deleting the object. So our script is working fine. Okay, great. So now one more thing which we need to do is just add one more wall, and add one more wall, add one more wall over here, and just increase the increase the value over the y-axis so that it is positioned properly. Okay, so great. Now if we run the script, it is going to look much better, guys. So now if we go to the game view, it is as you can see, the game is looking much better, and it is keeping on generating this. Great, so game is working fine, and now what we need to do is we need to attach we need our camera to run along with our player. So what you have to do for that is just go back inside of the editor. Okay, go back to the editor and create one more script for our camera, guys. So what you have to do is just hit on the create and create a C# script, name it as camera follower. So what you are going to do is once the game starts, the camera follower is again going to follow the player, guys. So what you have to do is just transform dot translate and what you have to do is just let our camera move on the upward direction with the cube with our player, and the move speed multiplied by move speed. Since we don't have any kind of a move speed, what you have to do is just get a reference to the script of the player so that the get a reference to the player controller so that the speed of the player controller and the camera is same. So we got a reference to the player controller script. What we have to do now is just pc.move speed. So pc.move speed, guys. So just type in pc.move speed, and with that we are going to reference the camera okay, we are going to reference the speed of the player controller script. So what you have to do is to access this move speed of the player controller, you need to go over the player controller, and from the private you need to change the access modifier to internal or public. So I would like to have internal as our access specifier, and go back to the camera follower, and as you can see, now you can access the move speed variable of the player controller script. So now go back to the editor and just click on the main camera and add component and add a camera follower script to it. So our PC would be just drag the player, and so that we can have a reference to our player controller script. And now if we hit the play button, as you can see, the camera is moving along with our player. So it's working fine and great, guys. So now just go back, just stop the editor from playing and just go back inside of it and just create one more cube and add it to the size of 12, and again create one more duplicate wall over the right side and add it to 12 again. So what you have to do right now is just hit the play button again and see if the cubes are just deleting on and on. So as you can see, the script is working great, and as you can see, it is not moving further than this. and yeah, our script is working great. So what you have to do right now is just go back inside of it, and what you can actually do is, instead of deleting the stuff, instead of deleting it, you can make it fall down, guys, so it would look much better. So let's not delete the script, but rather add a rigid body to that script. Add a rigid body so that it falls down due to the influence of the gravity. So game object dot add component, and add a rigid body to the component, to the game object, and now if we see, the object is going to fall down. So if we hit the play button and see, as you can see, the wall, as you can see, the object is falling down. Okay, it's not falling down properly. So what happened is, yeah, we didn't delete it, right? So what you have to do is just, okay, deparent it again. So game object dot transform dot parent equal to null. So now I'm going to deparent this game object so that we so that our script looks run fine, and go back to the editor and hit the play button. And as you can see, the cube is falling down, down, down. Okay, it's not falling down. I don't know why, but there is a serious issue with the script, guys. So go back. Okay, so okay, this is not working good. Okay, so just remove it. There are certain errors which we need to solve before it works fine. If you find any of those things working fine, then you can just go on with that pattern. Yeah, I would rather feel comfortable using this pattern as well. So there is no problem in using the destroy pattern. So go back to the editor and hit the play button again. Okay, yeah, hit the play button again, and as you can see, the game is working fine. But the just one problem is, just you need to add one more cube in the downside. So what you can do is just go back and just duplicate this cube as well. And now if you go hit this, just change the transform of both of this to, okay, just go back here and just make it -4, and again just go over here and, oh my god, okay, it's 12, so make it -4, guys. So now if we just hit the play button and see what happens, as you can see, it is not looking like we are snapping the game object anymore. So now our game is working more good and more now it is in a better shape, guys. So with that said, now what we have to do is, we have completed our logic for the endless world, and in the next lecture we are going to add a functionality of the random falling obstacles over the space, guys. So what we are going to do is, we are going to just spawn some cubes over the empty space on the screen, and that those cubes are going to fall over the player. So player has to dodge it by jumping over to the next wall, guys. So this would be our next functionality, so stay tuned. Create a random obstacle falling over the player functionality. So to do that, what you have to do is, in the hierarchy you have to create a empty game object, name it as obstacle spawner, and after naming it as obstacle spawner, just reset the position of that and add a camera follower script so it can follow up with the player. So add this camera follower script and add that variable players controller. So now what you have to do is just create an empty game object inside of it, but let's try to, yeah, just create empty game object and increase the size to 10, and on the x-axis just make it 1, or you can guess of it as 1.5, no, 1.5, yeah, 1.5, and then just make it as s_1. Okay, it is not a one, yeah, s_1, and what you have to do is just duplicate that object, and what you have to do again, just rename it to s_2, and the position of this object is going to be 1, I guess, yeah, 1. And then what you have to do is just duplicate this object again and make it 0.5 on the x-axis and name it as 3, guys. So now what you have to do is just spawn it again and make it -0.5 and name it as s_4. Spawn it again and name it as 5, and yeah, it should be 1. So again, let's create the 6th object, empty game object, and name it as s_6, and the x on the position of the x should be -1.5, guys. So with that said, what we could do is just swan a cube inside of it, and rescale the size of the cube. So make it to 0.5, 0.5 and 0.5. So as you can see, our cube is now of 0.5 and it is going to fall over the player, and yeah, then it is going to work fine. Now what I have to do is just inside of the tag, just add one more tag, name it add one more tag and name it as wall, add another tag and name it as enemy, and just go back to the player, and yeah, no need to assign this, but go inside of the prefab folder and to the prefabs, just on the blue wall you add a wall, and on the red wall you need to add a tag as enemy, because when the player touches the enemy it is going to burst. So similarly this cube should be, this cube which is right here, it should be an enemy because it is just falling over the player. So name just tag it as enemy, and the position over the y-axis should be 0, guys. So with that said, guys, what you have to do is just rename it to obstacle, and inside of the prefab folder just drag that obstacle, but before dragging that obstacle what you have to do is just add a material to it, guys. So let's create another material for the obstacle. So let's make it of the color green, I guess. Yeah, green would work great. So add a texture green, and as you can see we have got a texture of it. So now what you have to do is just drag in that to over the obstacle, and as you can see our obstacle is going to look green right now. So what you have to do is just take this obstacle and create a prefab of that obstacle game object. So just create the prefab of the obstacle and just delete this obstacle from the s_1. Now what you have to do is just go back, and we need to do some scripting. Okay, so just go inside the scripts folder and create a script for random ops and name it as random ops. So what I have to do is just go double click on that script and let's get started with the goalie. So what I have to do is just write a similar script, the similar execution lines as that of the camera follower, so that we don't need this camera follower anymore. So what I have to do is just create a variable of the type player controller and name it as PC, and what we do is go inside of the update function and transform.translate. Okay, translate it is, and vector 3 dot up, because we want our player to translate to the upward direction, and multiply it with pc dot move speed, guys. So with that typed, what I have to do right now is just spawn some random obstacles over the player, guys. So what I have to do is just let's first identify the frequency of our obstacles falling down over the player. So what I have to do is let's create another private variable, name it as the type of the variable should be float, and name it as time. So timer, and it should have a default value of 10 ampere. Okay, not 10, but make it 6, I guess. 6 would work great. So what I have to do is go inside the start function and go to the timer and equal to random dot range. So our timer is going to set its value between 3,8, guys. So it is going to set its value from 3,8, and now what you have to do is just create another variable of type game object, which would be work as a prefab for the obstacle. So name it as ops prefab, guys. So name it as ops prefab. After naming it as ops prefab, what you have to do is just spawn it. So if timer is less than equal to 0, then what we are going to do is we are going to spawn that obstacle, guys. So what you have to do is instantiate ops prefab comma transform dot position. So what would be, so for the transform, guys, what you have to do is just create an array of the transform of this 1 point position. So transform, this would be an array, and name it as 1 points. Okay, so we are good to go. So now for on the board, it is going to do, it is going to decrease it every frame. It is going to decrease the timer every frame. So you can think of the timer as a second. So after 6 seconds, suppose it randomly generates a number 4. So after 4 seconds, it is going to spawn an object, and it is going to again going to perform this line of code which is right inside the update start function. So just go back and type in that, and now so it is again going to set the timer to anything like suppose it takes 5. So now it is going to wait for the 5 seconds, and then again it is going to choose the random number. It is going to instantiate and choose the random number between 3 to 8, and it would go on and on until the player dies. So as you can see, Swanner has sworn an object after the 8 seconds, guys. So the player just need to avoid those objects which is getting sworn over the players, and player can't see those objects falling over himself. So as you can see, those objects are being swanning over the player. So our script is working fine. So now the last thing which we need to do over here is just go back to the player and decrease the size of the player, decrease the height of the player over the y-axis. So decrease it to -4, I guess. Yeah, so if we make it to -4, okay, yeah, we didn't make it -4 to this because we have just applied a lock over there. So go to the player, select the player, and add -4 to its height. So now we are adding a -4. -4 is too much, so make it -3. Okay, so that we can view those obstacles falling over the player. So just hit the play button again, and if we are play the game, what we are going to observe is the obstacle is going to fall, and we are going to observe those obstacles falling over the player so that we can dodge those obstacles, guys. So as you can see, we are able to dodge those obstacles and our game is running fine. So in the next lecture, what we are going to do is we are going to create a particle effect for our player, so that so we can have an effect when a player gets burst. So a player burst. So stay tuned, guys. A game mode functionality for our game. So to do that, what you have to do is just go back to the player controller script and add an on trigger function to that, and now just add this statements, guys. So if other.gameObject.write equals anime, then we are going to just turn off the match renderer of the player, and then we are going to set our move speed to 0 so that our player starts running, so starts from moving upwards in the upward direction. So now what you have to do is go back to the editor and apply those changes. The changes have been applied, and now what you have to do is just click on this. Okay, go to the blue wall and just hit on this is trigger and just override the, okay, just cancel it and select a single blue wall and just override the prefab. And now if you just select on any of the prefab, it has got is trigger over the box collider. Now we have to do the same thing for the red wall as well. So go inside the prefab folder and select the red wall and just check on this is trigger in the box collider. And with that set, guys, we are done with our wall. And now go to this obstacle and just check in the box for the box collider as well. Again, is going to be its trigger. So now if we play the game and if we hit red wall, or even you can say if we just trigger off the, okay, we are not triggering it, so we need to increase the trigger size. Yeah, as you can see, the obstacle collided with us and we just stopped going upwards. So what you have to do is just increase the trigger size. Okay, so increase the box collider size so that our player can just trigger it. So just press the alt so that we can just bring it on the both of the sides. So go back to this and yeah, save the changes. Okay, now double click over the red wall and just do the same thing just right there, and click alt and just drag it a bit outwards. And as you can see, we just have edited our box collider, and just go back inside the game and hit the play button. And if we now just hit it, okay, it's not working, I don't know why. Okay, just stop the game and take a close look to the player, and as you can see, it is triggering the player, it is triggering this anime, but there is no effect. Okay, so to take an effect, take on an effect, what you have to do is add a rigid body to our player and make it constraints freeze on positions and rotations as well. So with that said, guys, what we do is just uncheck this use gravity, and now if we hit the play button and just trigger over those red wall, then we are going to observe that our player gets invisible and the game stops, guys. So with that said, guys, what you have to do is add one more functionality to this game, which is that is Okay, just go back to the player, and as you can see, player is when the player collides with the red wall, it is not it is going to die, and the when the player collides with the obstacle, it is again going to die. Now one thing which remains is when the player remains in the space between those two walls, then also it has to die, but after a bit, after some seconds, after a few seconds, it is going to burst. So what you have to do is just go back here and private void on collider. Okay, not on collider, on trigger exit, make it on trigger exit function. So what this function is going to exist when when an object exists something a trigger, then it is going to perform this set of code, or you can say this function, then it is going to call this function. So when the object player.game object dot check equals wall, then the timer is going to start. So we need to create a private pool of variable name, make it start timer. So start timer should be false initially, and then what we have to do is just set the start timer. So okay guys, sorry for the interruption, but the problem is I just got an error between, so I just skipped those part and I came back again after editing my script. So what we were doing was we were creating a start timer which we set by default to false, and then we are going to create another variable name as timer, which is of type float, and we are going to assign it a value 5. So now go back to the update function, and if we go there, we are going to create a conditional statement, two conditional statement, which includes if start timer minus equals to delta time dot delta time, and again the next time we are going to type in timer txt parent dot transform dot get child 0 game object dot get component text dot text, and set that text to timer. So now with that said guys, this is a variable which we created up before yeah, outside of the function, which is this variable right there, which is serialized field game object timer text txt parent. So what it is going to do is it is going to take on the text from the canvas. It is going to get the text game object which is present over the canvas, which I will show you after I am done explaining the code to you. So now with that said guys, what you are going to do is go on to the on trigger exit function, and you are going to observe a start timer is equal to true when we are exiting those walls. So now the timer should be by default 5, and timer txt parent dot set active to true. So now what you have to do is just go back to the editor and let it take some time to compile. And if we go back to the editor, what I have done is I have added a timer array, timer text here right there. So as you can see, there is a timer text, and there are two texts, which is this and this. So I just created a parent-child relationship between them by dragging this text to over inside of this. So now as you can see, these both are having a parent-child relationship. Now what we are going to do is go back to the player, and inside of the player controller script, we need to drag this text game object right there inside of the timer text parent. So after doing that, what you are going to observe is when you hit the play button, you are going to observe the timer is going to scale down if we are not triggering the blue wall. So as you can see, it is just going down and down, and by mistake we just hit the red wall. So let's try to play the game again, and if we stay on the space without hitting those blue wall, we are going to die after 0 seconds. So as you can see, we die because we were not touching the blue wall, and the timer goes on and on. So after the player dies, we need to stop the timer. So yeah, so set this timer start timer to false. Yeah, great. So as you can see, we are done doing with our script. We are done writing our script for the game over functionality. So now in the next lecture, what we are going to do is we are going to create a particle system. A particle, we are going to add a particle system in our game. So just to create a particle system, just go into the hierarchy and go to the effects panel, and then just hit on the particle system and name it as player burst. So after we name it as player burst, what you have to do is just go inside of it. Yeah, just focus on that burst and just take a close look over it. So it is just emitting those irrelevant shit, that is that glow point. So what you have to do is go into the emission, just decrease the rate over time to 0 and add a burst. So it would be a burst of 30s. So now what you have to do is inside of the duration, just decrease the duration to 1, and then the start life should be of 3, I guess, and the start speed should be 4, and with and we are going to have a gravity modifier to 0.4 so that it falls down. So and we need to close off the looping so it looks like a burst, a real burst, and as you can see it is looking like a real burst. And let the shape be sphere, so it throws the particles off over every side, on each side. So now go down in the renderer, and instead of the billboard you need to select this mesh, and the cube would be our mesh. So now with that said guys, the material should be, I guess, white, because our player is white, guys. So just select that material, yeah, just select that white material and just restart this. So the size is too big at the start, so what you have to do is just get it to the center, or you can say to the transform its position where the player is currently. So just go back to and focus over there and just restart this particle system to see the size. So now let's decrease the size by going onto the particle system and decreasing the size, and make it random between two constants by setting it from 0.2 to 0.4, or I guess it should be 0.1. So now let's see. Yeah, the burst is good, and yeah, it is looking great, guys. So just increase the size, increase the amount of burst, so make it 40, so it would be it would look a bit saturated. So as you can see, the burst is looking great and it is falling downward. So yeah, it's great. So now let's try to add a collision. So go over to their collision, hit on that collision tab, and inside of that collision what you need to do is from the type plane you need to make it world, and from world you need to just, yeah, collides with everything. So yeah, it is colliding. It is not colliding because these walls are triggered. It has now got no box collider with them, so it is not colliding. So let's just remove this collision checkbox from our particle system, and now we are good to go. So just name this particle system as, yeah, we have already named our particle system as player burst, and just make it a parent, make it a child of our parent game object, and we are good to go. So just reset the position to the 0, and yeah, just make it 0, and now if we burst it, yeah, it is bursting great. So with that said guys, what you have to do is just yeah, just uncheck display on awake and go inside the player controller script, and over there what you have to do is when we die, what you have to do is just trigger that particle system to play. So what you have to do is just type in serialized field. Okay, it should be serialized field, by the way, not selection. Serialized field particle system, and the name should be player burst effect. So with that said guys, what you have to do is just go scroll down, and in the less than equal to timer equal to 0 time, what you have to do is player burst effect dot play, and again go down in the trigger enter of the enemy. Now just type in the same set of code, same line, burst player burst effect dot play. And with that said guys, what you have to do is just save the script and go back to the editor and hit the play button. Now if we hit the play button and see if our player touches red, it is okay. Yeah, we have not assigned this player burst effect to the player controller script, so just go there and assign the value to the variable player burst effect, and now if we play the game, you are going to observe a burst. Yeah, as you can see, the burst is working fine. So that now we are done with it. So we have created our very own particle system, and let's check it once by hitting our obstacle. So as you can see, it just boomed. So there is certain error causing it to yeah, this is a huge number. I don't know what is happening right there, but there is an error, a big error. So what you have to do is just go right there, and okay, let's check our console what the error is all about. So go inside of the script, and okay, once we play it, what you have to do is just take on this player burst effect and make it null. so that we just remove our so that we could just remove that burst effect. So today in this lecture we are going to create a main menu for our game. So to do that, what you have to do is just go inside the folder name as scene, and then just create another scene. Okay, where is it? Yeah, and name it as main menu, and just click on this sample scene and just rename it as game. Okay, reload it, and now just go inside of the main menu, select the camera, and the skybox should be replaced with the solid color and make it black, guys. So now what you have to do is, okay, don't make it black, but rather let's make it somewhat a different color. It should actually look good, guys. So go inside of it and just try to adjust any color which suits, which suits you. And yeah, I think this would be fine. And then just create another canvas, go into the UI and create canvas. And after creating this canvas, what you have to do is just create a simple button. Okay, now just go into the 2D mode and double click on that button to focus it, to get a focus. Now rename it to, I guess, yeah, the start game BTN, which stands for button, and just click on this arrow and replace the text from button to start game. Okay, so increase the font size to 20, and yeah, make it bold and change the color to black. And as you can see, our button is looking quite good, so no need to worry about it. So just select this button and scale it. Okay, great. So as you can see, our button is looking just fine, and just drag it a bit in the upward direction. And yeah, just duplicate this button again and rename it as exit btn, and just drag that button down just below the start game. Now yeah, with that done, guys, what you have to do is just rename the text inside of that exit button and just name it as text exit, and just okay, just save the changes which you have made and go inside the this project panel, and then go to the script folder and create another script, name it as UI handler. After naming it as UI handler, double click on that script and the Visual Studio will open up that script for us. Now what you have to do is just edit the script. Okay, remove all of these functions which have already been created for us by Unity. Now what you have to do is just create two different functions for start game and exit button functions. So what you have to do is we have created the start game function. Now inside of this, we have to create a game over menu. So to do that, what you have to do is just create another scene inside of the scene folder. Just create a scene and name it as game over scene. So just double click on that game over scene. Similarly, what we did in the previous lecture was we replace our camera to solid colors, the clear flags to solid color, and just make a background to the similar type of color so that it looks good. So as you can see, I've changed my color to this. It's kind of a yellow and orange mixture. So what you have to do is just click on this, create a new canvas in the hierarchy. Just go over there and just create one button. First of all, just create a box where you are going to write game over in a huge bolded font style. What I have to do is just change the font style to bold, and then bring it to the center. And what we do is just increase the font size to 40, I guess. Okay, 40 is too huge, but let's scale our. Okay, now it's looking fine. Just change the color to black, and then just increase the font style even more, and yeah, 60 would work fine. And just drag this, or you can say anchor it to the middle top, and yeah, it looks like a game over scene. And just change the canvas to, I guess, from constant pixel size to scale with screen size, guys. So now again, just increase the font size to 80, and just scale our text, and just bring it just below and make it fit perfect. So yeah, bring it to more So bring it on the y axis. What we'll do is just get it to -200, -200. Increase the font size to 100, or you can say 120. Now it's looking good. Now create two button. So over the UI, just select this button and rename the name of this button to, I guess, yeah, retry btn. Okay, I just wrote it through. Okay, retry btn. Now rename the text to retry. And after renaming it as retry, what you have to do is just change the color of the font and just increase the font style to, I guess, 20. And yeah, scale this button a bit. Okay, from 20 it should be, I guess, 40. Okay, make it bold. Now you would be able to see our button text. So just increase the size of our text, and now we are good to go. Now create one more button. Just duplicate this, rename the button as exit btn, and inside of that just add a text name as type in exit, and just click on this button and just drag it just below the retry button. And now what you have to do is over the canvas just add a script, which is your handler. Now you need to edit a UI handler. So on the retry, what you can do, yeah, we just need to create one more function, which is going to be public void exit btn. And inside of it, what you have to do is just type in scene manager dot scene. Okay, it's load scene, and type in here the number index, which is 0. So what we are basically going to do is we are going, if a player hits the exit button after the player has been displayed game over scene, what you have to do is just go back to the main menu. So this is what we are doing right now in this function. So just save the script and go back to the Unity editor and just let it take its time to compile. And now just go click on that exit button and click on and just add an on click event and just add this canvas, and here you are going to get an exit button function. And on the retry button, what you have to do is just add an on click event and just drag our canvas over there and add this start game, so that we are going to restart our game. Okay, so with that said, guys, we are done creating our main game over scene. But what you have to do is just go back onto the scene, which is main menu, and just change our canvas scaler from constant pixel size to scale with screen size. Increase the size of the button. So I am going to increase my size of these buttons so that it looks great. Okay, I guess these are visible now. Okay, so now what you have to do is just increase the font size, guys, to, I guess, 60. Great. So now what we have to do is just add a game title at the top. So yeah, just bring it to the center and get it to 120. Increase the size of this text, scale it, make it black, and drag it to the top. Okay, yeah, drag it to the top and name it as, okay, let me anchor it to the middle top, and just change the text from text. Okay, yeah, just make it bold, the style should be bold, and name it as wall change. So this is our name of this is the name of our game. So just scale this text so that it fits perfectly fine, it looks perfectly fine. Now what you have to do is just save the changes we have made and just go back to the game and click on this player controller, go to the screen, that's editor, Visual Studio Editor, go over the player controller, add a namespace using Unity engine.scene management semicolon and a semicolon. And now what you have to do is when game overs, what you have to do is just load the game over scene. So add an invoke function game over, and after 2.5 seconds, I guess we are going to just load that up. So what you have to do is after 2.5 seconds, what you have to do is just load this function, execute this function, which states scene manager.load scene, which is going to be 2. So with that done, guys, what you have to do is as you can see, it is here also, and what you have to do is just just copy this set of code and paste it right there. Okay, So with that said, guys, what we'll do is go back to the editor and click on this main menu scene and just hit the play button. So now I'm going to now what I'm going to do is just maximize this game scene, game view, and what I have to do is just hit the start game. As you can see, our game has been started. So now I hit the play. After 2.5 seconds, we are going to load that game over scene. Okay, why we are not loading that scene is because we have not added it in the scenes in build. So what you have to do is just drag this game over scene over there and just now hit the play over the editor and hit the start button. Okay, just maximize it. Yeah, so yeah, as you can see, I touched the wall, and as you can see, game over scene has been displayed. So now if I hit the exit button, you are going to go back to the wall change, and now if I again hit the start game, as you can see, we are able to control our player. But after 2.5 seconds, again game over scene is going to be loaded, and if I press the retry button, it again restart the game. So as you can see, our game has been restarted, guys. So with that said, we have completed our game. So now what you have to do is, in the next lecture, we are going to add some sound effects in our game, guys. So stay tuned. This lecture we are going to add some sound effects and a music inside of our game. So what you have to do is just go into the game scene, and in the game scene click on the player and add an audio source to our player. So as you can see, I have added an audio source to my player, and then what you have to do is, inside of the audio clip, you have to drag this video play back to sound. So just drag over the audio clip that sound, and then in the just below the play on awake, you are going to get a loop. So just check those both of the boxes, which is play on awake and loop. Now what you have to do is just go on to the player controller script, just double click on it, and now as you can see, our editor has opened this script which is named as player controller. You have to create two variable name as audio of type audio source and audio clip. So now the variable name is audio source, and pop se stands for sound effect. So what you have to do is just go inside of the start function and just type in this name, type in this instantiation of the audio source. The value we are going to assign it is the default is the audio source component, which is being attached to our game object, which is the player game object. So what we do is just go inside of this if statement, the last if statement which is inside of our update function, which is timer less than equal to 0. What we do is just type in those function, which is audio dot clip. You have to type in this executional line. What you have to do is just audio source dot clip, which are going to change the clip to pop se, because when the player dies, we are going to change our pop. We are going to replace our current music to this pop se, which is sound effect, and then we are just going to turn off the loop, and then we are going to play the clip. So after this, what you have to do is just go into the on trigger enter function, and you have to do the same process here as well. So now going back to the editor, and if you hit the play button, you are going to observe some changes. So our game, you are going to hear a music, and then when you die, a pop sound is going to come. So with that said, guys, we are good to go. And so in the next lecture, I am going to show you how to monetize your game. That is how to add ads into your game so that you can earn revenue. So stay tuned. This lecture, I'm going to show you how to monetize your game, or you can say how to add your ads into your game. So let's get started. So first of all, what you need to do is open up the service tab, which you can find it right inside of this window panel. And over there you go to general, and then just you are going to get a services. So with that, when you click on that, you are going to open up the service panel, and inside of the service panel, what you have to do is just go back once and just click on this ads to on instead of off, and just go inside of it, and then just enable test mode, guys, so that you would be able to see whether the ad is working or not. So now what you have to do is just hit on this button, go to dashboard, then Unity is going to get you to the dashboard. Now what you have to do is just go over, click on the project. Inside of that project, what you have to do is you have to find your game, which is wall change. Just click on that. After click on that wall change, what you have to do is just click on this monetization tab, and after you click on that monetization tab, what you need to do is just click on this placements. So after you click on this placement, you are going to get an ID for the Play Store, and you are going to get the second ID for our App Store. So we need the ID for our Play Store. Just click on this, because we are just going to publish our application over the Android, which is the for the Android over the Google Play Store. So what you have to do is just copy this ID and then go back into the editor. And yeah, now you have to create a script, guys. So a script name it as ads controller, and just double click on it and to open it. Now you are going to type in this namespace, which is using unity engine.monetization, otherwise you won't be able to display ads. So now what you have to do is just follow me, guys. Private string, it is going to be our store id, which is of course with the one which we copied. Now type in the static string video add video. So with that, guys, what you have to do is, why did we do this? This is another id for our video ad. So you are going to get that id, just go inside of this placements, and then you have to just go and click on this video, guys. So we are not going to add any reward video, but we are rather going to add a video, so a simple video. So you are going to get this placement id right beside of it, which is video, and just go over to the editor and just type in video. And now what you have to do is just add another parameter. Okay, no need to do this. Now what you have to do is just create a function which is start, guys. Okay, so in the start you are going to initialize this ad. So let's get started. Just type in the code. We are going to initialize our store id. We are going to enter our store id so that it verifies it, and here we are going to name it as in the test mode we are going to false. So if this is true, then commercial ads are going to be displayed, and if this is false, then only that unity sample ad is going to be displayed. So for now, if you are testing any kind of things, what you have to do is just go and type in false, because this would help you to, because it is illegal, guys. You cannot directly display the ad until the application is over the Play Store, guys. So what you have to do is just type in false. But yeah, since we are in the editor, you can type in true. There is no problem, I guess. So just do it and create another function, name it as video ad, guys. So with that said, what you have to do is just if monetization dot is ready. So this line here is going to check whether the video is being ready to play over the screen, and if it is ready, then it is going to show us the ad. So type in show ad placement content, and then add equals to null, guys. And if okay, now just we need to add monetization dot get. Okay, I just didn't type it properly. Okay, get placement, which is going to be, we are going to provide it a video id. Okay, so with that, as show placement content, guys. So now what you have to do is, if ad is not equal to null, then we are just going to display our ad by typing in ad dot show, guys. So with this said, guys, now you have created your very own ads controller script. So to test it, what you can do is just type in private void update, and inside of it just type in if input dot key code. Okay, input dot key down, it is, I guess, get key down, and type in key code dot yes space. This is just for testing purpose, guys. Now you have to just call in this function, which is video ad, and just save the script, go back to the editor, and just add a component to this canvas, which is going to be our ads controller, and just hit the play button. Now what you have to do is just press the space, and you are going to get a unity ad, which is the default ad which you are going to see in the editor. And then just close it, again press the space, and you are going to get this ad again, guys. So with that done, we have monetized our game, but you now have to correctly monetize it, because this won't work. So what you have to do is, this would work, but yeah, this is not the correct way to monetize a game. So when we are going to monetize is when a player dies. So what you have to do is just inside of this game over function, or you can say, I guess, yeah, when the player is directed to the new scene, which is the game over scene, you have to first of all just play in that ad, guys. So what you have to do is to just go over to the game over scene, and okay, yeah, here. So what you have to do is inside of the view UI handler, you have to type in the function which is private void start, and you are going to play a video ad. So go into the ads controller dot add, guys. So show, I guess, what was the function. Okay guys, just go to the Unity UI handler and just type in, I guess it's ads. Okay, it's video ads. Okay, so just okay, it's, I guess it's ad only. Okay, it's video ad, just video ad, it's not ads. Okay, so why is this error causing? It's ads controller. Yep. Okay, this is private. You need to change the access modifier to public so that you would be able to access this function over the another script. So as you can see, I am able to access the script. Now if we just go back to the editor and inside of the game over scene, if I hit the play button, it's not going to work. I guess it should work, by the way. It's not showing us the ad because the ad won't, I guess it's not ready to display, guys. So what you have to do is, what you can do is actually inside of the update function, invoke show ad after every 2.5 seconds. I guess this would work. So type in here another function, name it as show ad, and what you have to do is just cut this line off over here, Control X, and paste it right there. And with that, guys, what you're going to do is, okay, after every 2.5 seconds you are going to display the ad. And one more thing, guys, I just forgot that you also need to add one more component, which is the ads controller, which we didn't add it, right guys? So now with that said, what I have to do is, let's check in the inward function name and the function which we created name matches with each other. So now if we hit the play button, after every 2.5 seconds we are going to show we are going to get an ad. So as you can see, we got the ad. If I cut this ad, it's not working. Okay, it's maybe because, okay, so let's just remove this logic. It's not working fine. Remove this update function and just type in here show ad. This would work, guys. Okay, still it's not working. Let's do one thing, invoke the function show ad after 2.5 seconds. So now if you go back to the editor and hit the play, I guess now we should be able to see the ad after 2.5 seconds, I guess. Yeah, as you can see, the ad has been displayed. Now if you close, it's working fine. Go to the exit, start the game, and if the game overs, we are going to load up to the game over scene, and as you can see, after 2.5 seconds we are going to get an ad. So as you can see, our monetization has been working. So just close it. So today in this lecture we just have monetized our game properly. So in the next lecture we are going to just polish our game, and we are going to be getting ready to just upload our game over the Play Store. So stay tuned. So today we are going to polish our game. So I don't think so we need to polish our game because there is everything up to date. We have created all good. The code is working fine. The game mechanics are working fine. So there is no need to just change anything. So just let's try to build our final product. So let's build our final product. What you have to do is just go to the player settings, and inside of the player setting, just change the company from your default to the company to your company's name. So my company's name is United Game Developers, and yeah, we are good to go. So you can add your game icon over here. So what you have to do is just click on this and just texture. So my game icon, I don't currently have any game icon, so I'm going to just, okay, give this, not this, but yeah, okay, this would be great. So this would be my game icon. So now with that said, what you have to do is just build the final product. So Now Google Play Store has made an update that you can only pass on the build app bundle, guys. So what you have to do is just check on this mark and go back to the editor again, go back to the player setting again, and just scroll down and down. You are going to find in other settings type of a thing. So what you have to do is just click on that other setting and just scroll down, and yeah, package name is this, version name is this. Okay, good. Scroll down, scroll down. Okay, go to the publishing settings. What you have to do is just create a key store. So what you have to do is just create a key store. So let's create new in the dedicated location. So I'm going to store my key over inside of my project. So just go over there, a commercial. Okay, it's not commercial, I guess it's okay, where have I stored my game? Okay, is it in graphic intense? Yeah, it is. So just store your key over here. This would be my name for the user key. Now setting a password. So password won't be displayed. Okay, so yeah, alias would be this. Again type in the password, and 50 years, last name, first name, just type in your name, organizational unit, it is wall change. Okay, just don't do it. City would be Thane, state would be Maharashtra, and country code is IN because I'm from India. So add the key. Okay, user created and user, do you want to, yeah, yes. So now we have added a key. Now what you have to do is just close this up. So what this key does is it makes sure that when you are updating your game in future, then you have to just type in the password, then only you are able to access this project, guys. So this is for the security purpose, of course. So now what you have to do is just click on this build button, and we are going to store this app bundle over here. So just name it as wall change and just hit it, and now the application unity is going to just build this up for us. So let's skip this part. Okay, so with that said, what you have to do now is just go to the Google console. Okay, it's developer console, I guess. Yeah, I am just okay, developers console. Now click on this Google developers console, Google API console. I don't know what it is. Okay, this is an API console, so not this, Google app. Okay, it is, I guess, Google developer. Okay, it's Google Play console. Sorry, yeah, it's Play console finally. So where it is. Okay. Yeah, this is it. So Google Play console, click on that. What you have to do is just sign in, guys. So you need to create an account. So to create an account, you need to just pay. So after you have completed your payment, Google is going to get your this Google Play console account ready to use. So now you can then just sign in inside of it. So yeah, I have to do sign in with different account, so I won't be able to let you see all of this detail. So as you can see, guys, we have just entered our Play console. So these are all of my games which have been uploaded over the Play Store. So as you can see, I have got Crazy Ring, which is currently published, status is published, Dimension X, which I have unpublished it, Spike Dodge, Tank Arena. Okay, this Tank Arena is an online multiplayer game which I used, which took me around, I guess, 1.5 months to create this game. And this is my wall to another endless game. So guys, with that said, what you have to do is just hit on this create application, just hit this button, and then what you have to do is type in the title for your game, which is going to be, in our case, is wall change, and just create it. Hit the create button, and then what you have to do is just complete all of this task, guys. So I'm not going to show you what I'm doing because for the privacy purpose. So what you have to do is just complete all of this task. So after you complete this and this, you have to complete this task which has got this great tick mark, guys. So when you complete the task, what you are going to observe is this tick mark is going to get green, guys. So after you are done completing all these 4 tasks, what you have to do is finally go to the app release. And inside of the app release, what you have to do is for the production management, you have to go inside of the product and hit this manage key, or you can see the button, and then just create release. And what you have to do is just continue, guys. So yeah, with that said, you have to do all this stuff, and then you have to just drag your API or that Android app bundles right here, and then just save it, and then move forward, guys. So after that, your status is going to be it won't be published, so it would be under review, I guess. Yeah, for at first stage it is going to be under review, and after within 24 hours it is going to get published over the Play Store, guys. So after Google reviews your application, then it is going to just upload it over the Play Store, and the game is going to get live, guys. So with that said, we have completed our second section, which is create a simple hyper casual game named War Change, guys.